one.
Previously on Mythbusters, The Search. 6 hopeful hosts took aim at a classic TV tall tale.
It's the A-Team. This is awesome.
Pronounced it plausible.
Fire!
And proved with their A-Team teamwork too good to break up.
No one is being eliminated this week.
So this week, our 6 survivors test the myth that you could scale 7 stories
If you can hear me, Spider-Man, I could really use your help right now.
with cordless vacuum cleaners.
Nice!
Then,
I'm flying an airplane. What do I do?
can an amateur aviator land a light aircraft?
Yeah, well, might as well go out in a blaze of glory, right?
But who will crash and burn, and who will make it as a Mythbuster?
Welcome to Mythbusters The Search. I'm gonna come right out and say it. Your team myth this week is gonna suck. Because the star of the show will be this. Hit it. The humble vacuum cleaner. The myth is that you can quickly build a vacuum cleaner-based rig that will allow you to scale a building like Spider-Man. In terms of teams this week, yeah, I like this. Let's split this right down the middle. Team blue, Team red. You'll have just 2 days to build your vacuum cleaner rigs because on the 3rd day, you'll be testing them, attempting to scale a 7-story building that they use for fire safety training, and every single one of you will have to try it. One more thing. Don't worry, we're giving you battery-based vacuum cleaners. If you had to plug your rigs down into a wall socket 70 feet up, that would suck. So, let's get to work.
The Mythbusters have used the humble vacuum cleaner
Mythbusters maid service.
for a lot more than dust busting. Even creating a giant suction cup that lifted an entire car.
This freaking car is off the ground!
But can our contestants create a rig to spider up 7 stories in just 2 days?
Anyone else have climbing experience at all? Or
A little bit.
a little bit?
I've climbed stairs multiple times.
Both teams are immediately thinking along the same lines.
We should probably spec this to the heavier person on the team.
Who's the heaviest? Because that's what we're gonna have to make sure that we can get suction for that weight.
They're aiming to create handheld vacuum paddles. But first, there's one crucial question.
So we need to know the vacuum of the vacuum.
Blue team is eager to get some vacuum stats.
Before we do anything to these vacuums at all, we need to find out how much they actually suck. And so the simplest way to do that is this little cap, put it on the end of the vacuum, turn it on with that hose into a bowl of water. We measure how many inches it rises, and that's our baseline measurement for everything we do afterwards. We ready? Here goes.
The standard measure used for measuring vacuum is inches of mercury.
39 inches water.
So 39 inches of water, that's 3 inches of mercury, or about 1.5 psi.
Okay, so 1.5 psi doesn't sound like much. But the relationship between surface area and psi is linear. The more surface area, the more mass the vacuum can support. Each team will have 2 cordless vacuums. So the challenge is finding the suction sweet spot. A large enough suction footprint to support the weight of climber and rig, but a small enough footprint to still be portable. And blue team already have a number in mind.
We've decided to completely over-engineer the paddles. Each one we want to hold around 450 pounds. So 20-inch diameter circle, that's 300 and change square inches, times the 1.5 pounds of pressure that each inch can hold that we already got from the vacuum pump, 450 pounds.
450 pounds, as long as you have a perfect seal. So Blue is over-engineering their paddles for maximum suction on an imperfect surface.
Look, we're climbing a concrete wall, so it's not mirror smooth. And so what we've chosen is this foam rubber mat. And so what this is it's real supple. So it allows itself to kind of go into those concrete voids, and it's sticky, so it won't slide off. And so with a little bit of vacuum, this will stick us right on that wall.
While Martin preps those paddles, Tamara is lightening the load.
In order to maximize our suction on the wall, we need to minimize the weight that we're carrying up with us. We're kind of stuck with our own body weight, but when it comes to the vacuum, we can actually take out a lot of the parts. I'm building a housing that hopefully will get us to about 50% of the weight and be able to get us up the wall a little quicker.
Meanwhile, Hackett is working on attaching the suction paddles to their feet, designing a swinging stirrup for maximum maneuverability.
It's flexible, it's attached by webbing. That enables me to move around. It allows me to get the leverage that I want, so I'm not locked into one position.
Blue is aiming to create a super flexible rig by keeping their circular paddles as small as possible and using swinging stirrups. They're maximizing their freedom of movement to scale the full 7 stories. Red team are investigating the other vital vacuum stat, battery life.
For this test, we want to see how long the stock batteries in this vacuum cleaner can actually maintain a vacuum. The manual says 30 minutes, so we'll see if that's true. That's not much vacuum, but hopefully it'll last 30 minutes. Oh, it is off.
How long did it last?
It was 45 minutes.
That's longer than the manual. Do we even need other batteries?
All I know is that we're not gonna die.
Hey, all right.
So now they know they can climb the wall unplugged. Meanwhile, Red team is thinking inside the square.
We gotta figure out how big the paddles we're using to climb up that wall are. And for the benchmark, I have this 10-inch by 10-inch panel that's 100 square inches, and we'll see how much it lifts. It's pretty strong. Pull it. Are you worthy?
This is only a 10 by 10 inch square, and it was already really hard to pull off the wall. I feel like this probably could have supported one of our body weights just on its own.
All right, cut it. Oh, you didn't hear me say cut it?
I'm good.
Oh, shush.
It held on really tight. Even though I did end up falling on my ass, I still feel good about it.
But while the suction on the practice wall is impressive, Red is heading outdoors, and it's not for the fresh air.
We were testing our small-scale rigs on the smooth surface inside, but that's an ideal situation. So we came out to this wall, which is what I think is a worst-case scenario. It's all lumpy and bumpy and full of cracks. If these things work out here, they'll probably work anywhere.
All right, vacuum on.
We'll start with a 25-pounder.
25?
In theory, the 10 by 10 paddle should support 150 pounds. But can it do that on an uneven surface?
That's 40. Hush up, Bubba. Oh, 70, right?
Yeah.
It's sagging.
Oh my God.
85. It's 105 pounds. Oh! Are your hands okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so as the Red team suspected, an uneven surface cuts their suction by almost half, meaning they'll have to think bigger.
We're gonna raise the factor of safety up by about 4 and do a 1 foot by 4 foot panel. That's for each hand. We should have no problem holding our weight and scaling that wall.
So Red is opting for a less flexible design than Team Blue. They'll still create a double vac backpack, but the vacuums will be attached to 2 super large and rigid rectangular paddles with a steel footplate for stability. Red team is following the Mythbusters adage that if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
I will have to insist that whatever we build, it has cup holders on it.
Oh, I'm coming in frame for a high five. Oh, that's good. That's so good. Dude.
Wait. Cup holders.
The final step is a release valve on each paddle
Hey.
to stop suction without turning off the vacuums.
What's up?
And in less than a day and a half, they've turned 2 humble vacuum cleaners into a wall-scaling device.
Are you ready?
At least in theory.
Vacuum's on.
Once his feet are zip-tied in,
Okay, here we go. Ready?
he's ready for some uplift.
Good to go.
Up, and away.
Amazingly, John doesn't come unstuck. In fact, he makes it up the wall in under a minute.
I'm about 200 pounds, and I flew up that wall, so completely new level of respect for household vacuum cleaners. Here we go!
Yep, it's impressive, but Brian still has concerns.
What am I thinking? John, every morning when I come for breakfast, is glistening in the same sweat. Because why? He's in the gym. Do you know what I was doing? Sitting on the couch.
Okay, put in and we'll strap you in.
Am I concerned? I have the same concern John has, that I will fail.
It's okay. Here, we'll catch you on the...
Well, Brian isn't off to the best start.
Turn off the vacuum.
I'll be here.
But as the saying goes,
It sounds really lame, but just go like the first time, just do 2 inches.
when you fall off, you gotta get right back up onto the hose.
Good.
As Brian inches up the wall, his weight is supported by the rig. However, the ergonomics are causing him problems.
You're almost halfway there.
He has to strain to keep his body close to the wall. And at the 10-foot point, in the dizzying heights of homemade mountaineering,
Oh my God, I'm gonna throw up.
the Mythbusters have gone over the wall with hair, bed sheets, and even toilet paper. And scaled skyscrapers with suction cups. Now our hopeful hosts are tackling the incredible tall tale that you could scale a 70-foot concrete wall using 2 cordless vacuums.
You got it, man. You got it.
But Brian is struggling.
Yeah, that's why it's a whole...
Was that fun? I climbed a wall with a vacuum, hung upside down by my feet. The whole thing was fantastic. The only problem is, that's not the type of fun we're meant to be having if we want to win this thing. The problem is, when my hands are here, I'm just pulling. I feel like I'm holding 50 to 100 pounds the whole time. We got to climb the wall the fastest, and that, for me, was just the wrong position.
So, for Brian, an awkward climbing position was his downfall. But will Alan have the same problem?
You ready?
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, that is weird. Okay.
Remember, small, start small.
At a similar height to Brian,
2 more.
I am exhausted already.
he's hanging tough.
I am exhausted, but the good news is our rig works. We just have a little bit of fine-tuning to do because me and Brian are a little bit taller.
Nice.
We're gonna use straps to try and keep our weight close to the paddles. Oh, I can actually kind of lean forward and not fall that way. John didn't seem to have any problems. Either that's because he's shorter or it's because he's got so many muscles.
Maybe. Back with Blue Team, and they're putting the finishing touches to their rig.
On 3, 2, 1.
Look at that.
Can't get it off. Pull the thing. Not a problem. That's cool.
The last element is Hackett's swinging stirrups, but he's still working on them. So Martin has a solution.
All right, right, so
and they're ready to hit the wall.
In 3, 2, 1.
The rig has no problems holding Tamara's weight.
Yeah, look at that.
In fact, she makes it to the top in 25 seconds.
You're doing awesome. Oh, that's
That was freaking awesome.
yeah, let's do
But at 5 feet and 100 pounds, it's not surprising.
Dude, that was actually really easy.
Tamara climbed that wall like a gecko using her little pad. Fortunately, Martin and I have to use this one. Same motor, but a lot more surface area, a lot more vacuum to support a lot more mass.
Well, on the wooden practice wall, the bigger paddles work just as well as Tamara's.
This little drill here, a serious workout. Tomorrow, that's a sheer 70 foot. That's no easy task.
So the last person to test is Hackett,
40 inches. Cool. I'll cut the webbing now.
and his maneuverable stirrups are finally ready.
All right, Hackett, you ready for this?
As ready as I'm gonna get. Turn me on, Martin.
No, that's Tamara's job.
Turn me on, Tamara.
After a strong start, there still seems to be room for improvement.
You show that wall who's boss!
Paddles work. Our knot tying skills on the stirrup, not so well. Things were slipping and slipping.
Coming off?
Yeah, coming off. Good that this is happening now, not on the day. We've got a couple of different options before tomorrow.
The wooden stirrups are much more stable, but Hackett's not giving up, and that could backfire.
This is our shortest build to date and the fourth myth that I've been on with Hackett. So in the past, when he's wandered off or he's done his own thing, we've had enough people or enough time to compensate. But this time we're down to the wire, and it would be really useful to have all hands on deck.
Coming up,
I'm flying an airplane. What do I do?
our wannabe Mythbusters try to land on a wing and a prayer.
Oops. What do you mean, oops? What's oops?
To test the cordless vacuum climbing myth, our hopeful hosts are trying to get high. 7 stories high, to be exact. But first, it's time to fly.
Welcome to Mythbusters Flight 314 and the location of your second myth. It's a classic. Cue the in-flight entertainment.
The Mythbusters love nothing more than taking to the skies for science. Back in 2007, they tested the classic movie cliche of a civilian landing a passenger jet.
Pull your nose up, and give it power.
Thanks to the guidance from the ground,
Put the nose of the airplane to square on 2.5 degrees.
the Mythbusters managed 2 touchdowns.
A touchdown.
Okay, pull the nose up.
However, for the revisit, they'll be winging it in something much smaller.
So you get the idea. Your friend invites you for a flight on a small plane, but halfway through is somehow incapacitated. The myth is that you can safely land this plane without any flight experience, only talk into landing by air traffic control. You'll be flying a top-of-the-line flight simulator for a Cessna 172, flying into Garberville, California. It will also be raining. Before you guys get started, I'd like to introduce you to your special guest judges this week. Mike is a pilot with over 50 years of flight experience. He's going to be the one talking you down. Chris is a pilot and flight instructor. He's going to be behind you in the cockpit, watching your every move.
I've seen Adam and Jamie try to land a simulator, and it wasn't pretty. But now I get to get bounced around in a smaller plane in worse weather. It's not going to be easy.
But not all our candidates are as inexperienced as this myth requires.
My time flying was mostly short field runways and dirt takeoffs, so I have a lot of experience with the harder aspects of this.
Brian's history flying this exact plane means he'll sit this test out. But for the others, once they've buckled up, the simulation begins.
All right, Alan, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
They're at an altitude of 5,000 feet at a speed of 100 knots, traveling away from the airport with only 15 minutes of fuel left.
Mayday, mayday, Alan to air traffic control. My buddy just suffered a massive heart attack and I'm flying an airplane. What do I do?
Mayday, mayday, this is civilian John Lung, and I think the pilot has passed out, so I could use some help right now, Tower.
We don't have a pilot. We just have a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. That's me.
I need to land this airplane at an airport, I think.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea.
Yep, but which airport?
Do you have an idea where you are?
I am... Nope.
Not a clue.
What I first have to do is figure out exactly where you are. Are you looking at a big screen in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it should have a button underneath it, word called ident, I-D-E-N-T.
Ident. I see it. Should I press it?
Please push that button.
Great.
Okay, now I know where you are.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
But with all the controls in the cockpit, it isn't that easy for everyone.
When I heard about the myth today, all I could think about was every flight control panel I've ever seen in television and movies, and how many buttons there are.
There's one on the bottom that says ident, I-D-E-N-T, ident on it. Push it.
So it's gonna be very overwhelming, I think, when they tell me to push something and I go, which one is it? Is it this one? Is it that one? Is it that one? It's called IBAN?
Ident, I-D-E-N-T.
Oh, ident.
Yeah, there you go.
Got
Push
ident.
that button.
Once Mike knows where in the sky they are, he guides them towards the airport. As the candidates get to grips with the controls,
Add some more power. There you go. Now, what does the tachometer read?
Tachometer's at 2432.
Let's talk a second about what we're actually testing here. Yes, we are testing whether or not a novice can land a plane safely only with help from air traffic control, but we're also testing being calm under pressure.
Put it down.
Terrified.
Oh, don't be terrified. Just relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath.
Being proficient with machines.
But I want you to descend to 3,000 feet.
3,000 feet, descending.
Being good at communicating, and above all, being entertaining to watch.
Do I have a chance to do like a flip or anything?
This is something that all wannabe Mythbusters need.
yep, and what this myth needs now is a runway.
You should be able to see the runway on your right. It's about 5 miles away.
I see an airport. Oh my God, yes, I do. I see an airport.
Oh man, you guys are you're in business now.
But surrounded by mountains, Garberville is no easy landing strip.
I'm flying directly towards some hills, it looks like.
Are they right in front of you or are they below you?
Both.
Okay.
So is this, the runway's at 0 feet?
No, the runway's at 500 feet. Good question.
Okay, so I'm at 1,000 now, so I still have 500 feet. to
Yes,
go.
you are. That's right. Good question.
So far, all our candidates have successfully stayed aloft. But this myth is all about sticking the landing.
All right, now I need you to start down. To do that, we're going to need to use the engine power. All right, now I need you to lower some flaps.
And for John, this is where the rubber should meet the runway.
Okay, it looks like you're a little fast. Off a little power and raise the nose.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, now pull the throttle all the way up. Oops, oops.
Oops, what do you mean, oops? What's oops? Oh no.
Oops.
Oops, indeed. Lucky it's a simulation.
I think I crashed because I may have panicked a bit and over-adjusted a lot, and so my plane was just like, oh, it's coming in, oh. And I thought I pulled up at the right time, but it just went,
Unfortunately, John stalled and nosedived into the airfield. But this myth has 3 more pilots lined up for landing.
ooh, wee.
And one who seems to be enjoying his airspace a little too much.
Hackett's now made multiple approaches at the runway and hasn't been able to land. He's only got a few minutes of fuel left. Otherwise, he's just gonna fall out of the sky.
Oh, and there's the runway again.
Meanwhile, Tamara is approaching the runway.
Oh, those woods are coming up on Tamara real quick.
Pull back a little. All right, there you go. Hold it. Keep coming down. Keep coming down.
Tamara is our second pilot to come in too hot.
Pull up.
And Hackett, well,
So don't turn left or right. Just follow that road. Looks like you're turning right. Is that what you want to do?
No, I'm trying to stop.
while Hackett circles around yet again,
Push it all the way in. Push it all the way in.
All the way in.
it's Alan's turn to bring his bird into land.
Oh, here we go.
There you go.
Okay.
All right,
I'm
keep the runway
coming
between
in.
your legs. Now pull the nose up.
Oh, okay, nose going up.
Pull up some
Oh
more.
boy, this
Pull
is
up
getting
some
kind
more.
of crooked.
Pull up. There you go.
Okay, I'm
Keep-
coming in. Coming in.
Hold it.
Oh no! Oh Jesus, take the wheel! Did I die?
That's 3 for 3 crash landings. And it's not looking so good for the Myth. Although it is looking good for Martin.
Martin is definitely in sight of the runway now. Looks like he's doing okay.
Cool, calm, and collected, Martin slowly descends.
So when you get down to where you can start seeing the details of the runway, raise the nose. That's it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it.
So trying the brakes.
Yep. Push the tops of the pedals.
He did it.
Amazingly, Martin managed a textbook landing.
I want to make sure my friends don't die on me next time.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Good job.
The biggest fear is where the hell is everything? That was a huge help having somebody to just calm voice reassure me. That's good. Fix that. Change that.
Martin was a runway success. But Hackett,
Hackett's about to run out of fuel.
Yeah, well, we might as well go out in a blaze of glory, right?
which means all our newbie pilots have crashed or landed. But it's not over yet.
All right, so I guess the most important thing would be aviate, navigate, and communicate.
With a pilot's license, Brian is not the novice that this myth needs.
Oh, well, we lost visibility. We'll just keep an eye on our instruments here. I don't trust a thing.
So instead, he's just being assessed on how he performs under pressure.
So Brian is the last candidate to test, but he presents a bit of a problem. He actually has experience flying a plane just like this, so we're making it much, much harder. We're making it more turbulent.
Well, that was a big thud. I think I hit a turkey.
We're reducing his visibility.
Caution lights, well, you know, those are overrated.
That should make it just as much of a challenge for him as it has been for everyone else.
Oh, it's turbulent down here.
Despite frequently flying blind, pilot Brian does make it to the airstrip.
All right, if you can put your tray tables in the upright position for the landing.
But then, thanks to extreme crosswinds, he doesn't touch down.
Ooh. Little touch and go here.
Instead, he misses the runway and skids into the trees.
Hey, trees, here we come. Oh, oh, dodge, dodge. Oh.
Although his crash was deemed survivable, it's still a surprising end to a manic myth.
So, our reluctant pilots, good job today. What were the results? Well, the myth was that a novice can safely land a plane only being talked down by air traffic control. Brian is excluded from the dataset based on experience, but since one of you was able to successfully land the plane, we're gonna have to call this myth plausible. At least according to our small sample size. But in terms of individual performance, Mike, is there anyone who earned their wings today?
Yes, based on his performance and good communication skills, I'd have to say Martin. He was able to follow my instructions, so I'd have to give Martin a score, and he successfully landed the airplane.
Congratulations, Martin. That means for the rest of you, maybe when someone shouts, "Is there anyone on board who can fly this plane?" Don't raise your hand.
Coming up, it's dust or bust. As our wannabe Mythbusters go to the wall.
This is a disaster.
At the iconic Santa Rosa Fire Tower, it's D-Day for the cordless vacuum climb myth.
Welcome to test day. This is the building that you're gonna have to climb. Yeah, a towering challenge.
This got very real. It's a very tall building. It's got a lot of numbers on it. So I got a lot of concerns whether or not I'll make it all the way up, but I'm excited to try today looking at it.
So here's how judging is gonna work. When I say go, one member from each team will start climbing the wall. Then you have just 10 minutes to get as high as you can. When all three pairs have gone, whatever team has accrued the most vertical distance will be our winners. And someone from that team will win immunity, which means that someone else will be going home. But you will determine on each team who is going first, second, and third. Get ready.
So before they climb, time to talk tactics.
For us, the order's gonna go Tamra, then me, and then Hackett. And that's because Hackett wants to change out our foot system and put his on. So it's best that we both use it as it is, and then we can switch it over to his idea last. All right, you ready to do this?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
All right, go for it.
Let's go.
True to form, our Maverick Hackett plans to climb with his swinging stirrups.
All the designs are pretty much the same, the part that sticks against the wall, that is. I'm going with a different design that enables me to move around, allows me to get the leverage that I want, so I'm not locked into one position.
Which, even after 2 days, he's still putting the finishing touches to.
We're inventing this. These things did not exist 2 days ago. Might as well experiment a little, you know, see what other things work. We don't know what the parameters are yet because we're inventing them right now.
Team Red has chosen John to go first. Because that guy has so much energy, it's gonna be inspirational seeing him go up that wall. He's gonna set the standard for all of us. We just found out, though, that blue team is sending Tamra up as their first. And that girl is like a little squirrel or something.
I don't normally do this, but if you can hear me, Spider-Man, I could really use your help right now.
So really, it's gonna be our best versus their best.
Well, with both our contenders suited and booted, it's go time for test one.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, we'll start your engines on your vacuums. In 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice!
Taking a page from Spider-Man, both climbers are sucking their way up the building. But at the 10-foot mark, little dynamo Tamara streaks ahead.
Not only is blue team doing very well with this first round, if you look up and you actually look at Tamra, they added a little something special.
What the heck is happening?
Tamra is now halfway, and John is still at that 10-foot mark. It looks like she's got this in the bag.
Yep, Tamara's got this myth all cleaned up.
To be able to scale a building with nothing but a vacuum is just mind-blowing. I just tried to move really fast and throw as high up as I could and get up there.
Tamra, ring the bell! Oh, that's it, Tamra, you've done it! Just 2 minutes and 58 seconds!
While Tamara is already on her way down.
Yeah!
It's like there's an invisible force field. Can't get the pads to stick.
The wall! It's done!
Oh. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you did great. It's the wall's fault.
My whole suction cup was rocking on that one point. Couldn't get higher than like 2 feet off the ground.
It's a huge design flaw for the red team.
What the heck is happening?
Their rig is a long rectangle, which means that they not only have to worry about suction going all the way to the corners, but any curvature in that wall makes it so they don't get a full vacuum. That's part of the reason that we designed a circle for ours and tried to keep our surface area as small as possible to hold our weight.
Shoot!
But not anticipating an uneven climbing surface could spell trouble for the red team.
The person leaving us this week is... Go!
Back at Santa Rosa,
The wall!
it's not looking good for the red team.
In Heat 1, Tamra did awesome. She made it all the way up to the top of the tower in just 2 minutes and 58 seconds. John, on the other hand, didn't make it higher than my hand is right now. But they say that's not because their rig didn't work. They say it's because this wall is slightly warped, which we can check. You can see that there is some slight curvature in the wall. I might perceive that as a bit of a design flaw with the size of their suction cups, but in the interest of fairness, we're giving John a do-over. 10 minutes to climb on Tamra's side to see how high he can get.
Red team's supersized paddles can't grip the slanted wall.
1, go!
So over on the other side, John needs to make this count.
Come on, John!
New record!
Come on, John!
He is doing significantly better. He's already 20 feet up in the same amount of time that he spent just down on the first part of the wall in the first test.
But at the 25-foot mark, the curvature of the wall strikes again.
God, he's looking for a flat spot.
What the heck is this?
Yeah, whatever works, whatever works.
And regardless of where he tries to put his paddles, he's stuck.
It's killing me. On my first run, I got stuck on some weird bump. Then we switched sides to a different wall, only made it 25 feet.
After climb 1, red team is behind. So Brian is cutting their losses.
We came to the realization that if we decrease our suction area so that we're only sucking on a much smaller portion, we're not facing as much, and hopefully we can make it over that ridge. Oh, careful, careful, precision work. The only problem is these were built to hold a big dude like me, and with the reduced suction, while Alan and John might make it up, I have serious concerns now.
Red's paddles were over-engineered to support 500 pounds, but they don't have the flexibility to combat the curve. So by halving the length, they should stick to the wall better, which is good news for Alan. Just as long as he doesn't look down.
That feels kind of, oh. Yesterday, we practiced scaling a 15-foot wall. Oh yeah, me and John, we're pals, so of course we have the same suit size. But looking at it now from down here, this is a whole other can of beans. It is a 7-story tall can of beans, and I'm legitimately terrified.
And Martin also has concerns.
There's little voids, all these little air bubbles. There's cracks running. There's even holes. And on top of that, there's dust. All this is going to reduce our vacuum and our friction. So it's a big deal.
All right, teams, start your engines. In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh.
It's a slow start for both Alan and Martin. Because although they are getting high,
Come on, you're doing good.
You're doing it!
Martin's having problems with the dust.
I think it was really just not enough suction, too much dust.
A less than perfect seal is messing with his suction footprint. And at 14 feet, he bites the dust.
Martin's down! Martin's down! It's all on you, Alan, as high as you can get.
That was nothing but disappointment that just happened because from the very first step, this was on the wall, I stepped, slid down because of the dust. And so it was just like a vertical treadmill.
Alan is having more success as he makes it past John's 25-foot sticking point.
I knew that there was something I'd have to get past, so I just reached up as high as I could, and the pedal actually stuck. So from there, I was just trying to keep steady, keep climbing.
But at 35 feet, he comes unstuck.
Good job, Alan.
Alan Can.
Woo!
They should call you Alan Can.
How far did I get?
30 something.
And after all that effort, the good news is
I almost puked.
Alan has evened the odds.
After Heat 2, the scores have come a lot closer together. It's all gonna come down to Brian and Hackett's performance. It's exciting. Go!
So far in this cordless climbing caper,
Nice!
Blue Team's vacuum-powered climbing rig has had one clean sweep.
Tara, ring the bell!
And Red Team made a surprising comeback.
Alan!
But before this myth is all cleaned up,
Oh!
it's Maverick Hackett versus heavy hitter Brian. And Brian likes his chances.
After watching all the other contestants race, it's down to me and Hackett, and I thought Martin, he would have just spidered up that wall, and he didn't. He slid, and he gave us a chance.
For this final hose down, Hackett's swapping out the wooden stirrups for his swinging ones, which could make all the difference.
This is our last shot. I think it'll work better. I think it'll give me more maneuverability than the solid boards that come down. Will that matter in the end? Guess we'll find out.
Back in the shop, both Hackett and Brian struggled with the 15-foot practice wall. And that was before Red Team had to reduce their suction footprint by half. And Blue Team were brought down by the dust. So this is the last-ditch battle to seal the deal for their teams.
I know how girls in heels feel.
All right, start your engines.
Engines.
3, 2, 1, go!
Don't forget the clutch. Yeah.
So far, it's neck and neck,
Oh, dude, it's like neck and neck right now.
as neither climber can get more than 2 feet off the ground.
Hackett's feet, it looks like Hackett's design. His feet are swinging all over the place. Looks like it's hard for him to get an actual foothold on this.
Yeah, come on,
Inch by inch. Inch by inch.
I can see the vacuums actually cleaning the dust off of the wall.
Yep, once again, the dust is playing havoc with the rig section.
Go, 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 go.
This is a disaster.
You're neck and neck.
In theory, the reduced Red Team paddles should still support Brian's weight. But in practice, not so much. For Hackett, his swing and stirrups are making a tricky task even harder.
That was exhausting. I felt like I climbed 70 feet, and I think I did, except it was the same 10 feet over and over and over again.
And after 10 minutes, time's up.
All right, boys, I think we have to call it. I think we have to call it at that. All right, Hackett, you're done.
You know, just vacuuming up my tears because this rig couldn't hold me. On the upside, if I turned and looked to the left, I saw Hackett like a llama on ice over there. So while I might not have gotten my 1 foot, at least I got my self-respect.
Despite evidence to the contrary, Hackett still thinks his stirrups were an advantage.
When the hands were slipping and twisting and torquing, I could get more positions because my foot was moving independently. Actually, I think what would be ideal is something that combined the two, like a chain that bends one way and locks the other. Either way, I think I'll dream about it because I just want to lie down for a while.
Yep, it seems that for this myth, design and weight go hand in hand.
If I were to rate the success of this whole challenge, I think it's a success. We saw Tamara get to the top. I just think that if we're gonna go up in size of us in terms of weight, we need to go up in terms of vacuum from the system, because you get to a point where the little bit of leaking around the paddles, you go past that sweet spot and it doesn't matter how big that paddle is, You just can't get enough suction.
With the final distances tallied, blue had the edge on red. So where does that leave the myth?
The myth was that using a cordless vacuum, you can quickly build a rig that will allow you to climb a building like Spider-Man. Although there were mixed results, I think you all showed that with the right rig and the right person and the right surface, it can be done. So we're gonna have to call this myth plausible. Congratulations. Which brings us to this week's coveted Mythbusters MVP trophy. I think we just have to go with the person who absolutely destroyed this test today. Tamara, you're MVP once more.
Thanks, Kyle.
You're welcome. Good work today.
It meant a lot to me just to get up that wall, but getting MVP for a second time and 3 episodes is just really incredible. When I started this journey, I was just really hoping to make the girls in science proud, and I'm definitely gonna carry this as a badge of honor this week, because I think I'm doing it.
Now, this means that someone other than Tamara is going home. This decision is getting harder and harder each week, and so me and the special guest judges and the rest of the Mythbusters crew have been looking at not just this episode, but every previous episode that you've been on. And when we do that, we consistently find someone who lacks the collaborative attitude required for a Mythbuster, even though he's provided some hilarious, brilliant, and often disturbing moments. The person leaving us this week is Hackett. Sorry, dude. You are one of a kind, sir, and I wish you the best of luck, man.
A couple of interesting things about this gig. Got to bathe in like the whole mythos of Mythbusters, which infused everyone on the cast and on the crew.
Science.
As part of that, I got to work with some people that I never, ever would have worked with before. Downside, maybe I should have stepped to the front a little more often.
Hey, Buster, what's that?
But on the upside,
Didn't kill anybody. I'm going, but I'm taking that. It's a jetpack, right?
See ya.
Next week,
That's cool.
our final 5 get a license to thrill.
Yeah!
With spy car gadgets to stop a bad guy in his tracks. Then they test the myth you could sing for sanity.
Nothing wrong with this.
But who will face the music and who will make it as a Mythbuster?
The person leaving us this week is